All right, good morning, everybody. Hello, welcome back to Pilates. I hope you've had a fabulous weekend or getting ready to kick butt this week. When we're ready, we're going to begin our practice standing up at the mats. We can bring our ankles together, bring our toes together. Remember, we can take a little toes out, drawing them towards the corners of the mat. From here, we'll take a little turn out of our heels, just letting our feet settle underneath our hips here. From here, let's ground ourselves in this room, in this moment, preparing to spend the next 45 minutes here and present, connecting with our bodies, building that mind-muscle connection. We'll take a little bend through the knees here. We can think about zipping up our thighs, squeezing through those glutes, and then bracing through our core, pulling that belly button back towards our spine, thinking about knitting those ribs together. From here, we'll take a couple of rolls of our shoulders. On this last little roll, let's set those shoulders back and away from our ears. From here, we'll take this alignment into our warm-up for today. We'll take a hinge of the hips, sending those glutes to the back of the room. Hands are going to travel down our shins, fingertips moving away from center. Nice big inhale as we work those hands back on up to about mid-thigh. Big exhale on the way down as we send those fingertips away from center. We'll get a couple flows here, just waking up that posterior chain, saying hello to those hamstrings, to those glutes, and then finally to that low back. Let's get two more here. Next time we come on down, can we send those fingertips just a little bit further? Getting a big stretch through the low back here. Nice big inhale here. We'll come into our circle sweep, leading with our heart. Send those fingertips up towards the sky. Nice big exhale here. We'll hinge at those hips and those glutes to the back of the room. We'll plant those hands on down, making a little tent on the mat here. From here, we can take a big inhale, opening up through those left fingertips, drawing them up towards the sky. Big opening through the side body and lungs here. Exhale to sweep on down. We'll replace those hands on down to the mat. Come into a sweep on the opposite side. Once again, lengthening through those fingertips. Big exhale as we sweep on down. Let's get one more each side. Inhaling to lengthen, stretching through that side body. Exhaling to replace that hand back on down. When we bring those fingertips down on this side, we'll make a little tent with our fingertips on the mat here. From here, we can lift through that left heel, drawing our left knee on up towards our chest, getting a little stretch here, and then lower that heel on down. Let's come into the opposite side. From here, we'll just alternate through these heel lifts here. This is a really great one to take at the pacing of your own body. Check in with yourself here. It might feel really nice to hold a lengthened position, or it might feel really nice to walk this one out just a little bit quicker. Maybe it feels nice to draw those knees towards the edges of the mat. If it's not feeling great to have those hands all the way down the mat, we can bring our hands on up to our knees and continue to march out from here. Just warming up into this movement. And we're here for 5. When we're ready, we'll come on back to stillness together. We'll inhale into that circle sweep, leading with our heart. Send those fingertips up towards the sky. Nice big exhale here. Let's hinge at those hips and those glutes to the back of the room. Hands coming on back on down to the mat. From here, let's walk those hands on over to the left-hand side of the mat. Coming into a side body stretch here, keeping a gentle bend through the knees. From here, let's take a big inhale, walking those hands back to center, pausing at the center point before we walk those hands on over to the opposite side of the mat. Keeping that bend in the knees, finding that side body stretch here. Let's take a big inhale here, walking those hands back to center. From here, we'll let our hands find our elbows, the crown of our heads hanging on down, heavy towards the mat. Let's let gravity take control here. We can start a little swivel in our hips, moving side to side. Our upper body's completely on vacation. Just give your lower body some permission to take control here. Let gravity take over. Giving ourselves a little stretch through the low back here. We're here for 5. We can let those little swivels through our hips get a little larger. So we find this stretch. Let's come back to center together. From here, we'll once again inhale into our circle sweep, leading with our heart. Send those fingertips up towards the sky. Nice big exhale here, hinging at those hips and those glutes to the back of the room. Hands coming on down to the mat. From here, let's walk those hands out towards the tippy top of the mat, coming into our plank position here. Hands will stack underneath shoulders. Option here to stay in this full plank or option to join me in our kneeling plank today. Either way, let's brace through our core, pulling that belly button up towards the sky. Elbows pull in towards our ribs as we slowly defy gravity down, working through the triceps. Thinking about defying gravity all the way down here. Once we're down here on the mat, let's take those hands underneath our shoulders. We're going to draw those feet towards the bottom of the mat. We're going to come into our chest lifts here first. So we're inhaling, peeling our head and chest up off the mat, letting those hands float up off the mat. Nice big exhale as we release down to the mat. Let's get one more here. Inhaling as we peel our chest and head up off the mat. Exhaling to lower down slow. Next time we come on up, can we add a lift of those legs? Inhaling to peel our head and chest up off the mat, squeezing through those glutes at this top point. Exhaling as we melt on down. Let's get two more here. Inhaling on the way up. Exhaling to melt on down. On this next one, after we inhale up, can you meet me at this top point here? We'll send those fingertips out in front of us, lengthening our fingertips and toes towards opposite sides of the room. If it's in our practice, maybe we'll take a bend of those elbows, drawing them in towards our waist, opening up through the chest, and sending them back out in front of us. Just taking a couple sweeps of the arms here. Inhaling as we send those fingertips out in front of us. Exhaling to pull them back towards our center. Let's get one more. Next time we draw those hands in towards our center, we'll melt on down to the mat. We'll press those palms into the ground here, coming up into our 4-point position. Hands will stack underneath shoulders. Knees will stack underneath hips here. Let's take a little tuck through the toes. Sending those toes in towards our center. Let's take a little lift through the knees here. Think about bracing through our core to lift those knees up off the mat. Coming to a little hover. From here, let's send those hips up into the air, coming into a downward dog. We can reset those feet to about hip distance apart. We're shining our chest towards our thighs. Finding our downward dog position here. If it's in our practice, maybe we want to walk this downward dog out, bending those knees in towards our chest. Saying hello to the stretch. Letting our heels fall a little closer on down towards the mat every time. Let's come on back to stillness together in 5. Once we're back here in stillness together, we're going to take a slow lift of that left leg. Big inhale to draw it up. Send those heels up tall. From here, we're going to point those toes down towards the mat. Think about squaring our pinky toes down towards the ground. Holding this position, can we send those heels a little taller? If we want a little more in this stretch, we can take a bend of that extended leg, drawing our heels over our glutes, opening up our hips to the side of the room. Find the power here. Next big inhale, let's extend through that leg, point through those toes. Next big exhale, can we step that foot forward to be framed by our hands, coming into our low lunge here. Here in this low lunge, we're going to find our world's greatest stretch. We'll inhale to open up same arm towards same inner thigh, sending those fingertips up towards the sky. We'll take a nice exhale here, lowering those hands on down towards the ground. And then big inhales, we send them right back up. Anytime we're coming through this movement, we want to think about moving through honey, moving through molasses, taking everything nice and slow as we melt those hands back on down to the mat. We'll bring those hands to frame our feet here. We'll come into a little hip flexor stretch. So we can draw those heels to the front of the mat and then send them back to the back of the mat. Just settling a little deeper into this stretch. If you want a little more here, we can bring our hands to our chest, holding ourselves lifted here. If we choose this option, we want to make sure that we're keeping our back knee lifted, finding some stability here. And we're here for 3. When we're ready, let's bring those hands back to the sides of our feet here. We're going to hop or step that back foot forward to meet our front at the tippy top of the mat. From here, let's come into our halfway fold, shining our chest forward. Back's going to stay nice and flat at this top point. Big exhale on the way down. Big inhale to come into our circle sweep, leading with our heart. Send those fingertips up towards the sky. Nice big exhale here. Hinge at those hips, send those glutes to the back of the room. Hands coming to the sides of our feet. From here, we can hop or step those feet to the back of the mat, coming into our plank position once again. This time we have the option to stay in that kneeling plank or coming into that full plank position. Either way, let's brace through that core. Pull that belly button back towards our spine. Bending through the elbows, coming into those crocodile arms. Let's lower ourselves down as slowly as possible. Engaging through the core as we're coming on down. Once we're down here, hands will stack underneath shoulders. Knees will stack underneath hips. Let's send those legs to the edges of the mat. We can come into some little windshield wipers here, shuffling those heels over to one side of the mat, and then windshield wipering them over to the opposite side of the mat. Just giving ourselves a little stretch through the low back here. And we're here for 3. And last one. We come to the end of this one. Let's draw those heels back up towards the ceiling. From here, we're going to press those palms into the mat, coming into our 4-point position. Hands will stack underneath shoulders, knees will stack underneath hips. Let's take a little tuck through the toes here. We're going to use our knees lifting those, use our core lifting those knees up off the mat, coming into our little hover. From here, let's send those hips up into the air, coming into our downward dog. Sending those seat bones up tall towards the sky. Resetting those feet so they're about hip distance apart. This time when we walk out our downward dog, maybe we want to try bringing opposite knee towards opposite elbow, adding just a little bit of internal rotation here. Beautiful work. We want to keep those seat bones sent up tall. And we're here for 3. When we're ready, let's come on back to stillness together. We're going to take that slow lift of the opposite leg this time, drawing those heels up towards the sky. Think about lengthening through that leg, sending those heels up tall. So squaring those pinky toes down with the ground. Think about pointing our pinky toe down towards the mat. If we want a little more here, we can take a bend of that top knee, drawing our heels over our glutes, opening up those hips to the sides of the room. Nice big inhale here. Let's extend through that leg, point through those toes. Nice big exhale. Can we step that foot forward to be framed by our hands, coming into our low lunge position here. Keeping that back knee floating. We're going to come into that world's greatest stretch. Once again, thinking like we're moving through molasses or honey or slime. We're lengthening those fingertips up towards the sky. Nice big exhale as we let those hands slowly float on down. Big inhales. We open up through the lungs once again. And big exhales. We plant those hands on down to the sides of our feet. From here, we're going to come into that hip flexor stretch once again, drawing those heels up to the front of the mat and then back to the back of the mat, just settling a little deeper into the stretch. If we want a little more, we can come into that lifted position, keeping that back knee floating here. Those hip flexors do really important work for us every single day, so we're just giving them some love here. And here for 3. When we're ready, let's bring those hands back to the sides of our feet. We can hop or step that back foot forward to meet our front at the tippy top of our mat. From here, we'll come into our halfway fold first. Inhaling to shine our chest forward. Exhaling on the way on down. Big inhale to come into that full circle sweep, leading with our heart, sending those fingertips up towards the sky. We can give ourselves a little good morning stretch here, a little rotation, whatever feels right this morning. From here, we can once again inhale, sending those fingertips up towards the sky. We're going to take some rolls out of those wrists, just warming out through the wrists. Big inhale as we send those arms back on up. We're going to reverse the direction of those wrist rolls. And that's going to wrap up our warm-up for today. So we are headed down to the mat for our first track of the day. We will need our Pilates block for this one, so we can head on down here. We'll bring ourselves on down to the mat slowly by bringing our hands to the nooks of our knees and lowering ourselves on down here. From here, we can bring those feet about palms distance away from our booties. We'll take those blocks and we're going to send them up over our chest here to begin with. We're sending those knees up towards the sky. We're coming into our imprinted spinal position. By taking a little tuck through our pelvis, thinking about trying to leave the mark of our spine in the mat. We want to think about pressing that low back into the mat here. When we're ready, we can begin by inhaling to prepare, exhaling to come into our chest lift here, drawing those blocks over our knees, and then inhaling to release back here. Every time that we exhale up, we want to think about closing that distance between our ribs and our hips, keeping that low back pressing into the ground. Beautiful work. We are bracing through our core here. I really invite you to find the power of our breath work during this practice today. We can think about exhaling. Send that block on up. Inhaling to melt completely on down. We are here for 4. Beautiful work. Let's get 2 more. Next time that we exhale up to this top point, can you meet me here? We're going to rainbow that weight over to our left-hand side, bringing it back through center before we lower it over to that right-hand side. We'll bring it back through center to inhale to release. So we're exhaling up, lowering that weight on over to one side, back through center, over to the opposite side. Inhaling to release back. Beautiful work. We're adding just a little bit of oblique work through this movement, keeping that low back pressing into the mat here. Let's get 2 more. As we're doing this, we want to think about keeping a healthy distance between our chin and our chest. You can always think about holding an apple underneath our chin here. This will protect the really little muscles in our neck, prevent us from getting strained through our upper body on this one. Next time that we exhale up through this movement, I want you to hold to this top point. We're going to lift that left leg up into tabletop. Right leg's going to follow. Left toes are going to tap down. Right toes can tap down before we inhale to release back. So we're exhaling up, lifting one leg up into tabletop at a time. We are here for 3. Keep this movement really slow and controlled. Check in with ourselves. Are we still keeping that low back pressing into the mat? And last one. Next time that we exhale up, let's glue those ankles together. Drawing both of those legs up into tabletop at once. Tap those toes on down before we inhale to release back. Beautiful work. We are here for 4. And last 3. Next time that we come on up into our top point here, we're going to change things up just a little bit. We are going to lift those legs up into tabletop. We're going to open up through the knees and send that Pilates block towards our ankles. We'll bring those knees back together and release back. So we're opening up through the knees, sending that Pilates block towards our ankles. Inhaling to release back, closing through the knees. Beautiful work. Let's get 3 more here. And last 2. Next time that we come on up to this top point, we're going to open up through the knees here. We are going to hold that Pilates block lifted over our chest. From here, we're going to tap those toes on down, keeping the knees open. And then lifting back up to our tabletop position. Keep that low back pressing into the mat here. Beautiful work. We're just finding that little diamond between our legs and then lifting back up to that tabletop position. Let's get 3 more here. And last 2. Next time we come on up to this top point, can you meet me here? Before we tap those legs on there, we're going to extend our arms back behind our head, tapping the legs down at the same time. Pull back through center. Inhale to tap our fingertips and toes towards opposite sides of the room. Exhale to pull back to our starting point. We are here for 3. And last 2. Next time that we pull up to this top point, can you meet me here? We are going to keep those little opening through the knees here. We are going to exhale up into our lift, drawing that Pilates block towards our toes here. Little tiny crunches. Pulsing out here for 5. And 3. 2. And 1. Beautiful work. We can lose those Pilates blocks for now. We'll bring our hands to the nooks of our knees and rock and roll on up before we head into our next track of the day here. So we can grab some water on our way on up, and we'll need our blocks and our weights for this next one. So this one will come on up to standing. We're going to take those blocks, pressing them between our thighs here. We're going to take those weights, bringing them up to our shoulders. You might have to play around with the positioning of these blocks here. These are going to just give us a little bit of a little bit of a reminder for our core to stay working through this one. We're going to bring those feet about hip distance apart. You want to think about pressing in on this block throughout this whole movement. You're going to think about holding tension. We're going to bring those weights to our shoulders. We're going to begin here by grounding through our heels. We're going to sit on down into our squat, drawing those glutes on down to the ground, and then pressing up, grounding through those heels up into our standing point. Beautiful work. We are here for 5. Taking this slow and controlled. Press in on those blocks. Let's get 3 more here. And last 2. Next time we come on up into this top point, we're going to add a lift onto our toes, lower back onto our heels before we drop on down into that squat. So we're lifting up to this top point, coming onto our heels, lowering back on down. Beautiful work. Here for 5. Last 3. Next time that we come on up into this top point, we're going to add a little drop of these weights. So we're going to sweep those weights on down, lifting back to our shoulders before we drop on down to those squats. Beautiful work. Let's get 3 more here. Squeeze in on those Pilates blocks. And last 2. Next time we come on up into this top point, can we add a little pulse? Sending those weights to the back of the room twice before we lower on down into our squat. Beautiful work. Last 3 here. And last 1. Beautiful. Beautiful work. From here, we'll take those Pilates blocks. We're going to send them on down to the ground. We're going to stay in our lifted position for a little bit of standing arms and legs. So for this next track, we're going to set our left feet on top of this block. We're going to take those feet about hip distance apart here. We're going to bring our elbows in towards our waist. We're going to bring those weights up towards our shoulders and lower down slow, finding a bicep curl here. Our weight should be evenly distributed between our feet here. And we are here for 3. And last 2. Next time we come on up to this top point, can you meet me here? Lifting those weights up to this top point. We are going to take a freeze here. We're drawing those weights up towards the sky, pulling down to this top point. We are here for 5. And 3, we're going to freeze up at this top point. And last one, next time we send those weights up here, can you meet me here? We're pulling down to that overhead press, drawing into our cactus arms. Send it back up towards the sky. Beautiful work. We are here for 5. Check in with our core here. Make sure we're bracing through our center. And last 3. Next time we send those weights up over our head, can you meet me here? We're going to take a pull down, drawing those weights towards our chest. Send them back up, pulling something down. Almost like we're pulling something off a top shelf. We're pulling it in towards our center. And here for 4. Last 3. And last one. Next time we pull on down to this bottom point, can you meet me here? We're going to take a sweep out of those arms. We're going to come into a lift of our legs, sending that leg up towards the sky, lowering down slow. We might need a little bit more space for this one. Beautiful work. We're here for 5. We're taking this slow and controlled as we lift through those arms, lifting through that leg. Here for 3. We're going to put these all together in 2. And last one. Next time we lower on down to this bottom point here. Let's step those feet back into our starting position, about hip distance apart. We're beginning with those bicep curls. Once we're at this top point, we're sending those weights above our head. Pull down to that 90-90. Back above our head. Pull it down. Find that flutter. Beautiful work. Finding that bicep curl. Send it up. Cactus arms. Back up above our head. Pull it down. Find that flutter. Beautiful work. We are here for 4. Finding those bicep curls. Press it up. 90-90s. You are killing it. Find that flutter. Let's get 3 more here. Cactus arms. Back up. Pull it down. Find that flutter. And last 2. And last one. Pull it down. Find that flutter. Amazing work. Shake out those shoulders. We're going to switch sides. So we're going to set those feet about hip distance apart once again. We're going to come into this bicep curl on the opposite side. So once again, bringing those weights up towards our shoulders, lowering down nice and slow. We're fighting gravity on the way down here. We are here for 5. Let's get 3 more. And last 2, you're killing it. Next time we come on up to this top point, can you meet me here? We're going to take a twist of those arms up, drawing them above our head. Pull down to the top of that bicep curl. We are here for 5. We're going to freeze at this top point in 3. And last 2. Check in with our core here. We're bracing through our center. Drawing up to this top point, we're pulling into our cactus arms. Back up above the head. Here for 5. Every time we draw those arms down, we think about squeezing through those shoulder blades. Here for 3. Last one. Next time we send it up, meet me here. We're going to find those pull downs. Drawing to the top of that bicep curl. Press it back up. Pull it down. Something's on the top shelf. Here for 5. Pull it down. Last 3. Last one. Next time we come on down to this bottom point. Meet me here. We're going to find these flutters on this side. Taking that sweep of the leg, drawing those arms on up to their top point. Taking this slow and controlled as possible. Think about fluttering with control. We are here for 5. Control that movement of the arms on the way on down. Last 3. Let's put it together here in 2. Next time we come on down to this bottom point, we're going to come on down to our starting point. Feet about hip distance apart, starting with those bicep curls. From here, we're twisting it up. Find those cactus arms. Send it back above our head. Pull it down. Find that flutter. Bicep curls. Press it up. Cactus arms. Pull it down. Find that flutter. Take it nice and slow. Bicep curls. Twist it up. Cactus arms. Pull it down. Find that flutter. Beautiful work. Little micro bend through the elbows on those flutters. Last 3. Bicep curl. Press it up. Cactus arms. Pull it down. Find that flutter. Last one. Cactus arms. Press it up. Pull it down. And flutter it out. Beautiful work. Shake out those arms. Shake out those shoulders. We'll lose one of those weights here. We're going to stay lifted. From here, we're going to send one of those blocks out into the sides. We're going to take a wider little squat here. So think about sending your feet about a palm's distance wider than hips apart. From here, we'll draw this weight towards our center. And we're going to begin here by squatting down, thinking about drawing our back down a wall. Send those glutes on down, and then press it up. So we're sliding our back down a wall, keeping our back nice and flat. Our collarbone's like an elevator here. It's just going up and down. We're going to start here for 3. Let's add some arms in 2. Next time we lower on down to this bottom point, we're going to lift through the arms as we lift through those knees. Lower it back on down as we drop it down. We are here for 5. Take this slow and controlled. Keep our back nice and flat. We're sliding down a wall. Last 3. Meet me down at our bottom point in 2. Next time we come on down here, we're gonna stay low. We're gonna take a lift of that heel. Drop that heel on down. Come into our lift. Beautiful work. We're gonna stay low in 3. Last 2. Find that little heel lift. Next time we come on down, can you meet me here? Keep those weights down in our chest. Lift and lower through that heel. Here for 5. Here for 3. Come into that heel lift. We're pulsing it out here in 3. Find that heel lift. Drop those glutes on down. Find that little pulse. Here for 5. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful work. Shake out those legs. We're going to switch sides here. You killed it. All right. We're going to begin with those squats. Bring that weight to our chest. We're sliding our back down a wall here. Press it back on up. Here for 3. Next time we come on down, we're going to add that lift through the arms. Send it up. Lower it down as we drop into that squat. Beautiful work. Here for 5. Adding that heel lift in 4. Last 3. You have it. We are here for 2. You are killing it. Last one. Meet me down here. Add that little heel lift. Drop it on down. Back into that squat. Beautiful work. We're going to take it low in 4. Last 3. Meet me down here in 1. Next time we come on down, find that heel lift and lower. Here for 5. Hold that heel lift in 3. Last 2. Hold that heel lifted in 1. Meet me here. We're going to pulse it out here. Here for 5. 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful work. Lose those weights. Come on down to our cool down. Now's a great time to grab some water. All right. So for our cool down, we'll come into our lying position, sending each of our limbs to a corner of the mat. Let's just take a couple of breaths here. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. We'll send those fingertips back behind our head here. On our next big exhale, let's pull those shoulders down, pull those elbows down to about shoulder height. Inhaling to send them back above our head. Exhaling as we pull down to those cactus arms. Inhaling to draw them back above our head. And last 2. Next time we come on down to these cactus arms, can you meet me here? Pulling down to this 90-90. We're going to draw those elbows together in front of our chest. Exhaling to lower back down. Pulling back, just zip those elbows together, zip our palms together. And then opening back through the chest. This is going to help us with this posture, help us with opening through the lungs. Let's get 2 more here. Next time we draw those arms on down into our cactus arms on the ground. Could you meet me here? We're once again going to take a press of those fingertips back above our head. Let's flip those palms in to face each other. Thumbs facing the ground, pinkies pointed up towards the sky. Nice big exhale. Draw those pinkies towards our thighs. Nice big inhale. We'll open those thumbs up towards the ground. Big exhale as we draw the pinkies towards the thighs. Inhale as we draw our thumbs towards the ground. Let's just take a couple sweeps here. Last two. Next time we bring those pinkies towards our thighs, could you meet me here? From here, let's send that left knee in towards our chest, hugging it in towards our hearts. We'll use our hands here, guide that knee in some little circles, giving ourselves a little massage of the back against the mat here. We'll let those circles get just a little larger as we go. From here, let's inhale, send that leg away. We'll take a big exhale to pull the opposite knee in towards our chest. Once again, using our hands, guiding that knee in some little circles. Rolling out our hips against the mat just a little bit. Next big inhale, let's draw that leg away. Big exhale to pull both knees in towards our chest, hugging them in towards our heart here. We'll use our hands, opening those knees out towards the sides of the room, and then closing them back together, making a little circle with our knees here. And just opening and closing through the hips, keeping our ankles together as much as possible. Let's bring those knees back together here. From here, we're gonna work our hands to the bases of our feet, drawing those heels up towards the sky, fully opening up through the hips here. Here we're finding our happy baby, and I think this is a great time to bring some joy back into your practice. I think it's so easy for our fitness journeys to become about preserving our physical health, reaching some physical goal. But a huge aspect of our fitness journey of building that relationship with our bodies is also building a friendship. So let's just take some time here to bring some joy into our movements. This is your body, this is your time. What does your inner happy baby feel like and look like today? We can remove the barriers of something that feels kind of silly and just have a little fun with our movement. From here, let's work those hands to the bases of our knees and rock and roll on up, drawing those knees to the sides of our bodies before we turn to find our tabletop position. Here, hands will stack underneath shoulders, knees will stack underneath hips. From here, we will open up those left fingertips up towards the sky, opening those fingertips up towards the ceiling. Nice big exhale. Let's sweep those hands on down to our starting point. Big inhales. We lengthen through those fingertips once again. Exhale to lower on down. Next time that we inhale to open those fingertips up towards the ceiling, can we take a sweep of those palms to the front, finding a little circle here. And last two. Let's send those fingertips up to their top point here. Drawing those fingertips up towards the ceiling. Nice exhale this time. We're going to draw it underneath our opposite elbow. Coming into a little thread the needle here. Joe, lowering that shoulder on down to the ground. Keeping those hips high. From here, we can pull back to our starting point. Here in this 4-point position, hands will stack underneath shoulders, knees will stack underneath hips. We'll come into the opposite side. Once again, beginning by just drawing those fingertips up towards the sky, lengthening through those fingertips. Exhaling to sweep it back down to our starting point. Next time that we draw those fingertips up towards the sky, we'll turn this into our little half circle, drawing those fingertips to the front of the room, and then sweeping those hands back up. Next time that we draw those fingertips up towards the ceiling, I want you to lengthen here. Big exhale as we draw to tuck this hand underneath our opposite armpit, lowering our shoulder on down to the mat, coming into a little thread the needle here. Let's take a breath here in this little thread the needle before we press back up into our 4-point position. Hands stacking underneath shoulders, knees stacking underneath hips. Let's bring our ankles together, widening the straddle of our knees. Sit back onto our heels, and then walk those hands up to the tippy top of the mat. The only lyrics in the whole class are during cool down, but that's all right. We'll come into this child's pose to wrap up our class for today. Resting here in child's pose, this is a great time to set our intention for the day. We have the whole week ahead of us today. The sun is shining bright outside. Let's take a moment here and set some goals for the week ahead of us. What does living with intention look like for you this week? Is your goal to be more observant of the people that you love, noticing their mood, noticing small ways you can make their day better? Is your goal finding kindness to strangers, opening the door, spreading random compliments, random smiles, being a beacon of joy in your day-to-day interactions this week? Is your goal being brave, challenging negative thoughts as they enter your mind? What does living with intention look like for you today? What are you striving for? Let's take a moment here, pulling that to the forefront of our mind. As we draw that intention to our mind, I think it's also vital to take this time to thank ourselves for setting these 45 minutes aside to check in with our bodies, build our mind-muscle connection, setting this time aside to become the best version of ourselves, preparing ourselves to step forth into the week ahead of us and live with that intentionality. We can thank our bodies for the hard work they did for us in this class, the hard work they'll continue to do for us today, the hard work they do for us every single day, allowing us to show up for the people, the things that we care about. So let's thank ourselves for setting this time aside in our day, and thank our bodies. And when we're ready, we'll work those hands in towards our chest, coming back up to the day. That's going to wrap up Pilates for today. Thank you all so much for joining me. Thanks for sharing our practice today. And have a wonderful rest of your week. I'll see you on Wednesday.